Hello everyone. How's it, Mo? Let me just take before we get into it, let me just take a moment to enjoy the return of my role as main host. I won't lie, things aren't easy on the other side of the screen. So I'm glad to be the one asking questions again and not getting interrogated on the other side. So yeah,
Good.
let's get right into it. I'm sure everyone's aware of this because it's probably the hottest topic around now. Today we'll be covering the crash of the rand. Obviously, it's lost quite a bit of value in the last few weeks, and yeah, a lot of people don't know why, and they don't know what to do about it. I think a lot of people are feeling helpless right now when they see or they listen to the radio and they hear the rand versus dollar effect. So yeah, let's get right into it. Um, Mo, what are the? I know there's two branches of things that affect the rand. There's the
Mm.
technical happenings that affect it, and then also the day-to-day subjective stuff that affects it. So why don't you break it down for us? Well, what's happening?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good point, Andrea. And the things that we look at in terms of determining the fair value of the rand really has to do with the technical stuff. So the technical stuff that affects the rand is, to be fair, the long-term inflation differential between South Africa and the US. So in the US, United States, over a long period of time, the inflation will be much lower than South Africa as an emerging market. And if our differential is 4 or 5% per year over a long period of time, you would expect the rand to weaken to the dollar. And then on top of that, the other main technical factor is obviously the country risk that's associated with the two countries, the US and South Africa, mainly South Africa, obviously. And then the second branch that we often refer to, and that comes into huge for when it comes to the behavioral side of investing, is the emotional impact on the rand. So the rand's obviously one of the most traded currencies in the world, and there's certain macro things that can happen at a behavioral or emotional level that impact it, and then there's local things, and the stuff that's happened in the last sort of week or two has been a bit of both. So the technical factor is everyone's aware of all the load shedding we're having, and yeah, people have just gotten tired of it. So institutional investors are punishing the rand because of the fact that there just seems to be no end in sight for load shedding. And then the emotional factor is the scandal to do with the Russian weapons apparently flowing through our harbor, even though they can't really use our weapons. So that's an emotional
Cigars
factor.
and shields. No.
Yeah. And that could be an emotion. It's an emotional factor, but that could become a technical factor if it's proven to be true. Only time will tell. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And just a shout out to our first video on Section 12B, investing into solar infrastructure. That'll solve our load shedding issue. It'll help solve the problem. So everyone just go back and watch that video. Um, Back to the rand though. How should people then react to it? Because all of a sudden you've got financial advisors out there punting offshore investments again,
Yeah.
obviously because this is now a hot topic.
Yeah.
I'm quite against them using this as a platform for that, just because of the timing thing, but I'm sure you'll be able to explain it to us better than that. So how should people be reacting to this within their portfolios?
Yeah, so whenever there's a black swan event or something that impacts markets this quickly and to this effect, the last thing you want to do is actually make knee-jerk decisions in terms of portfolios. And we need to remember the rand has been at this level before. So I mean, during COVID in April 2020, we got up to these levels fairly easily, and we recovered within a couple of weeks. And that being said, over time we've had the same thing. So during nanny gates, COVID, the financial crisis, just after 2002 as well, we had these spikes in the rand where you have this sharp weakening, and then within a very quick period of time, things generally revert back to the mean. And that's not to say we'll potentially go back to 13 or 14 rand to the dollar where we've been in the last year. But certainly, at 19, we are on the very, very, very weak side of the rand. And I mean, I personally wouldn't be taking money offshore at this point. I mean, I wouldn't be advising investors to do that as well. Obviously, if you're going to keep money offshore for a long period of time, then it will wash out over time. But if the fair value of the rand is closer to 17, then no one really wants to be taking out money at these currency levels.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same principle. Buy low and sell high. Don't buy high and sell low.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the best reaction to it currently is no reaction. As usual, trust the financial plan, wait out the highs and lows, and just hang tight, because it will get better.
Yeah, I mean, within the last month, we were in the 17s. In January, we were in the 16s. A year ago, we were at 15. And people might say, okay, but it just keeps on weakening. But no, I mean, towards the end of 2022, we were in the 18s as well, and then it recovered. So yeah, you've got to just trust planning and not make major decisions on a whim.
Yeah, and look, we're not saying that offshore investing isn't an option. It definitely is, and it's a very advisable option if you're looking for differentiation and diversity in your portfolio. But don't make the weak rand, a driving force, or make a panic call because of it and move all your money offshore, because most likely you're going to turn around and bite you.
Yeah, and especially if it's a knee-jerk decision, you might be moving capital that you actually need, and then if the rand does strengthen and you need to bring the money back, then you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. I think I'm of the same opinion as you. But yeah, thanks, Mo. Thanks for breaking it down for us, and I hope everyone that tuned into this one picked something up from it and enjoyed it. And we'll see you again next week for the next one.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. Just a disclaimer, these are our thoughts and opinions and not to be misconstrued as advice. Cheers.